What if I told you that the Mera Mera no Mi, one of the most iconic devil fruits in One Piece, it isn't just about firepower, that beneath the flames lies a story of inheritance, willpower, and a spiritual concept directly out of Japanese Shinto itself? This devil fruit doesn't just burn enemies, it burned itself into the soul of the series for certain characters, from Ace's tragic end to Sabo's rebirth through those same flames. The flame fruit has become more than just a Logia power. It's a living symbol of legacy and divine fire. Join me in today's newest installment of the Devil Fruit Guide over here on the Everything One Piece Explained channel, where we're going to be diving deep into the flame fruit, its powers, its strength, its weaknesses, and its symbolism in Japanese belief systems, and how it reflects the very souls of Ace and Sabo, and why nobody else should have been able to get that devil fruit except for Sabo. So crewmates, let's set sail and let's light this one up. So first we're going to start with the overview of the devil fruit itself. So the flame fruit is a Logia-type devil fruit that allows the user to create, control, and become fire itself. It was first eaten by Ace and later inherited by his brother in spirit Sabo. This fruit, it embodies freedom, destruction, and rebirth, all themes that are at the heart of One Piece. When Ace first used it, his flames, they became a physical manifestation of his spirit, uncontrollable, burning bright, and also destined to burn out too soon. Years later, when Sabo inherited those exact same flames, they symbolized not just raw power, but also rebirth and a continuation of Ace's will. Unlike Paramecia and Zone types, the Logia fruit allows the user to become the very element that they control. And in Ace's case, that meant he wasn't just wielding fire, he was fire itself. Every attack, every move, every defiant smile in the middle of a battle, it radiated that burning spirit that made him one of the most beloved characters in One Piece history. But to truly understand this devil fruit, we obviously have to go deeper, because the flame fruit is more than just heat and destruction. It's also transformation, purification, and sacrifice. And this is going to bring me to the powers and abilities. So let's talk about raw power, because the flame fruit, it has some of the flashiest and visually most spectacular abilities in the entire series. Ace could shoot out streams of fire from his hands. He could create fiery barricades to trap his enemies, and even transform his body into flames to avoid physical attacks. But these powers, they aren't random. Each technique, it was crafted around a symbolic theme, control through passion, at least in my opinion. So here are some of the standout abilities from this devil fruit that defined it and made it legendary in my opinion. First, you have Ace's signature move, where he's able to turn his fist into a column of flames that are powerful enough to obliterate entire ships in one strike. It is both beautiful and terrifying, just like watching a star explode, just like watching fire when you get too close to it. Then, when you look at Ace's ultimate attack, where he has a massive sun-like fireball that is reformed into a condensed flame, it's said to resemble the mythical flame emperor from ancient Chinese lore. It's the purest representation of Ace's will, self-destructive brilliance, burning at its peak before fading into an ash. Ace also has fireballs that can swarm an enemy. Each one is a spark of Ace's wrath. There's also the ability to make a towering pillar that can wipe out enemies from above, as well as those that are below the user if the user's in the air. Then you have the ability to shoot a concentrated blast of fire in the shape of a cross after the fingers take that cross shape. It's precision and its destruction with a perfect harmony. Then when you look at Sabo, when he inherited this devil fruit, his fighting style, it evolved into something new, a fusion of fire and martial arts mastery. He uses the flames to amplify his hockey enhanced combat, coating his talons in fire and spinning his enemies into burning vortexes. Sabo doesn't just use fire to destroy, he also symbolically uses it to liberate. Each blow that he lands as the Flame Emperor of the Revolutionary Army, it is an act of rebellion, which makes a lot of sense when you look at Sabo's background when he was a child. His flames, they are lighting the path forward towards freedom. So while Ace's fire symbolized individuality and self-expression, Sabo's flames, they represent the shared torch of revolution. This brings me to the doubling down of the strengths of the devil fruit. So the strengths of the flame fruit, they're pretty obvious, but what makes it so special isn't just its destructive power. As a Logia fruit, the user becomes intangible. They can let attacks phase right through them while burning anything that they come into contact with when they're using this power. They can propel themselves forward into a burst of fire. They can move faster than humanly possible because of this, and they can even use their flames to fly short distances. Fire also allows to control the battlefield. You can cut off enemy escape routes, you can blind enemies, and you can force them to fight at your terms. Fire is one of the most primal fears that mankind has. We know if we get too close to it, we can get burned and die. This is what makes a user of this devil fruit so damn deadly, because on a certain level, Oda is playing off of the primal instincts and fear that human beings have for survival. You see a building on fire, you immediately worry that somebody's in danger. You see fire nearby you, your immediate instinct is to put it out or run away, fight or flight. The user also gains immunity to heat-based attacks, which is why Ace could casually swim through explosions or he could punch through cannon fire. But perhaps the biggest strength lies not just in combat, but it's also in how adaptable the devil fruit is in the hands of the right user. From propulsion to crowd control to sheer offense, the flame fruit is both elegant and deadly. It's a perfect fit for users whose spirits, they burn bright with passion and defiance. Now, this is where we get into the weaknesses of the devil fruit. So of course, no power is absolute. Like all devil fruits, the flame fruit, the user loses the ability to swim. Very ironic considering that both Ace and Sabo, they are seafaring pirates. When you think of pirates, you obviously think they should swim, but that's a trade-off for a devil fruit. More critically, the fruit has one natural predator. It is the magma fruit that is wielded by Akainu. In the natural hierarchy of elements, magma, it is denser, it is hotter, and it is more destructive than fire. Akainu's magma not only overwhelmed Ace's flames, but it completely bypasses intangibility, a devastating reminder that even the brightest flame can be smothered by something even hotter. That's what makes Ace's final stand so tragic. His power, it was incredible, but even fire meets its limit at time. And in that moment, Ace's humanity shone brighter than his flames could have ever done. And considering the fact that given everything that Ace had been through in his short time on Earth in the One Piece world, that makes his death that much more poetic. And speaking of poetry, it gets more poetic when you look at the symbolism of the devil fruit itself. So this is the heart of the video and why this devil fruit is one of my favorites. The symbolism behind the Mera Mera no Mi, it's really crazy when you look at fire in Japanese Shinto and Buddhism. And those traditions, it represents purification, life force, and divine energy. It's seen both as destructive and sacred. In Shinto stories, fire deities like Kagutsuchi, the god of fire, they are born from creation itself, yet they cause destruction through their very existence. It's a yin and a yang. It's very beautiful. Does that sound familiar? Well, that's basically Ace in a nutshell, give or take how you view the character. Ace's flames, they represented a life that burned way too brightly. He was born from a cursed lineage. He was Gold Roger's son. He came from that dreaded D bloodline that Vegapunk is currently talking about in the anime, and he lived his life fighting against that fate. Fire was his rebellion against destiny, against the very name that he inherited, his defiance against the world's judgment. When Ace died protecting Luffy, his flames, they didn't extinguish. Instead, they passed on, literally and spiritually, through the Mera Mera no Mi. And that's why, getting to why when Sabo ate the devil fruit is so big, because it wasn't just about gaining power, it was also the resurrection of Ace's will to a degree. His brother didn't just inherit his strength, he also to a degree inherited his spirit, his kindness, and his drive to protect others. Just as in nature, fire is used to lead to rebirth, it's the same thing in Shintoism. In this way, the Mera Mera no Mi becomes a symbol of rebirth as well as will inheritance. That is also one of the themes that I take away when I read One Piece when it comes to inheritance and the things that people inherit. Fire consumes, but it also creates a warmth and a light for others. For Sabo, fire isn't just about destruction anymore. It's about freedom. It's about enlightenment. It's about justice. It's about revolution. His flames are different than Ace's flames. Sabo's flames, they are political, they are symbolic, they are a guiding light for the oppressed. The fruit basically evolved just like the user when you look at it from a symbolic stance. Now, this is where we go into more detail about fire in Shinto and spiritual context. So in Shinto belief, fire purifies the world from corruption. Rituals involving flame cleanse spaces and souls, burning away impurity to make way for renewal. Ace's story mirrors this perfectly. His death was both tragic and cleansing. It changed Luffy forever. It sparked a growth in Luffy. It sparked new determination to grow stronger. His sacrifice burned away the weakness of the past, setting the stage for Luffy to enter into the new world. When Sabo took those same flames, the symbolism came full circle. Ace's fire became the spiritual fire for revolution. In Japanese mythology, this is very reminiscent of Hinokami, fire gods who only destroy to allow for rebirth. The fire is never truly gone. It just transforms, just like the will of D. So the Mera Mera no Mi, it isn't just a fruit, it's a philosophical statement, a literal embodiment of what One Piece stands for. The idea that a person's will, once ignited, it can never truly be extinguished. So when you see Sabo blazing across the sky, or you think back to Ace's final moments, remember the flame fruit isn't just about power levels and flashy explosions. In my opinion, it's about legacy, sacrifice, and fire that refuses to die out. Just like in Shinto, where flames can cleanse and renew, the flame fruit represents rebirth of will, of spirit, and of purpose. Ace's fire may have gone out, but through Sabo, it's burning even brighter than ever before. Most of you guys probably know me from my Naruto Explained channel, so I gotta end this with this. The will of fire isn't just a Naruto thing. In One Piece, the flame fruit is quite literally in the hands of someone like Sabo, the eternal truth of the seas themselves. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking here to check out more videos from the Devil Fruit Handbook, or click here to check out my blind reactions to every single One Piece chapter from chapter 1 all the way up to the most recent chapter.